Health Chats. I'm Clare Davis, and we are all about helping you with your emotional fitness. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're listening on podcast, please follow. This series is all about burnout, and we want to make sure burnout doesn't creep up on us and help ourselves and help others resolve burnout before it's too late. So today I've got Denise Dixon with me. Hello, Denise. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much for joining us, Denise. And Denise is from the other side of the world. So would you like to tell everybody where you are from?
Well, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, Jamaican born and raised, but Atlanta is my home and has been for a few years now.
Brilliant. I absolutely love the facts. Like me, I was born and raised in Sydney, and now I live in the UK.
Yes.
So, Denise, would you like to tell everybody what you do?
Okay, sure. Well, my name is Denise, and I am a life coach. I initially started out on the path of being a therapist, and so I have a master's degree in mental health counseling. However, I deviated to life coaching because I felt like it gave me another seat in a more direct and less formal dynamic with clients from a coach perspective. So that's what I do. I'm a life coach here in Atlanta.
Brilliant. And what is your definition of burnout?
Wow, I think burnout is when you feel overwhelmed emotionally, physiologically, psychologically, spiritually, existentially, right? I think everyone experiences a level of stress in any of those areas in their lives. But when it's to a point where it interferes with your way of being and your day-to-day navigation of life, I think that's what burnout is.
Yeah.
When I think about burnout, that's what that represents for me.
Definitely. And I love the fact that you've said both physically and emotionally, because we often don't realize it can affect us physically as well as emotionally. So why do you think, Denise, that burnout is such a big issue at the moment?
To be quite frank, I think burnout is really a symptom of a problem and not really the problem, right? It's like when you have a medical illness and you've ignored the symptoms for quite some time, and then it creates a symptom that is so big, you forget that it's actually an extension of something else. And people's inability or not having the desire to regulate and be in touch with what they're feeling, how they're feeling, maintaining those boundaries, saying no, not overextending themselves, not trying to overplease, not biting off more than they can chew, not respecting the signals their body and their spirit and their minds and their hearts and their everything is given them. That is the direct result of one or all of those things in combination.
Definitely. That's really, really interesting. And in today's society, you've just said things like not being able to say no. I find it very difficult with certain people
Yes.
to be able to say no to certain people. And I find there are times where I just feel it's constantly having to please and please and please these people. And as soon as I say no, it's just this weight off my shoulders.
Yes.
It's an incredible feeling.
Absolutely. In my sessions, one of the things I'm always asking clients is why, right? So for example, a client says to me, I just have an issue saying no. Quite often they become very tunnel vision on the fact that they can't say no. And I really like to explore what the cause of that is. What is the fear of saying no? Is it I won't be accepted, I won't be liked, I won't be at the cool kids table, right? There is this underlying reason that you have this issue. And so quite often, if we go back and dig and kind of examine and look for that, then saying no becomes a lot easier. But when you're just trying to use a discipline to say no, it really doesn't solve the problem because you haven't really gone to the core of what caused that issue in the first place.
Definitely. Thank you for that. So let's think about burnout, and if some of your clients have got to the stage of feeling burnt out, what can people do to resolve burnout?
I think when people come to me and they have burnout, they do come to me with that very question: what can I do to solve it? And sometimes they're not happy with my response because sometimes people just want a technique. And
Yeah.
again, I'm always going to, let's go back and see what caused this. Because if I give you a technique to solve the burnout, that technique applied could solve that situation, but it doesn't prevent you from getting into the exact situation because you have that drive or that underlying need. So the main thing you can do to prevent burnout is really to allow yourself the mindfulness to know what's going on with you, to know how things affect you, to understand when you're in a space where you literally feel that energy, like it starts from here and it's in your body and you're not working out, but like your whole body is tense and you ignore that and you just keep going. You just keep
Yeah.
going. So I think mindfulness is extremely important and it's very undervalued because people want something that's like a quicker fix, something that's a more instant gratification. But it's a process to really go back and find out what the cause of that is. And then effectively make a decision as to, okay, what am I going to do in now that I know that there's a cause and effect relationship to a pattern that I have.
Yeah, definitely. Very interesting. And you said when people ask you for resources, we need to get to the cause, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would love to hear if you know of any resources that may be able to help if people, don't have the time or the money for a coach. So what resources are available?
One of the things that I ended up doing as a result of dealing with people in this area specifically, I created a series of journals and daily planners. Um, and I found that just the very act of this kind of introspective reflection of what's going on today, what went on today, what do I want to go on tomorrow, what am I thinking, what am I feeling, how was my day, just really almost like a daily introspection as to your cause and effect, as to what happened. So you were burned out today. Are we sitting down, reflecting, going over everything that happened so we can have a better understanding? Or do we just go to sleep and then
Yeah,
just get up tomorrow and get back on the bicycle of like burnout number two? Like if burnout gave us like, calorie release, then maybe, but it doesn't.
yeah.
So I have a series of daily planners and journals that I have available on Amazon. And I think that's a first step. Um, Most importantly, being aware of what is happening to you and trying to identify the cause of what's happening, and then being prepared to have the courage
Mm,
to make whatever decision you need to make in order to alleviate the stress of that burnout. Because sometimes we subconsciously have already decided that at whatever cost, this is what we're going to do. Maybe it's a job and we need to get to the next bonus of the month, or we need to get to another tax bracket. So even though we're complaining about the burnout, we've kind of made a decision like, this is what I'm going to do. And if that's the case, then that's another story.
yeah, definitely. I love the idea of this journal. What are the journals actually called? They're available on Amazon, you said.
Yes, they're available on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and put Denise Dixon, I have one that is mood and habit, because I really believe that if you track your habits, it paints the picture of your moods. I have one called Doing the Most, which is for
Yeah.
people who that is the number one seller with the burnouts, because
Yeah.
you're doing the most and sometimes you don't realize it until you see all these areas on the paper. I have gratitude and wellness, and they're a series. I usually release one every quarter. So they're
Brilliant.
available on Amazon. Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you, Denise. That's fantastic. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would love to get in touch. So where can people actually find you?
My website's very simple. 𝗵𝗵𝗆𝗀𝗃.com, spelled the traditional way, DENISE.
Yeah.
If you want to shoot me an email, you can send me one at info@𝗵𝗵𝗆𝗀𝗃.com, and usually get a response within 24 to 48 hours.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your insights and your wise words. It's been
My
really
pleasure.
interesting talking to you, and take care.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.